Hello, my name is Sherry Forsyth. I'm a peak performance coach, and I welcome you today to this brief discussion on the pandemic and how we can use it as an opportunity, how we can see the positivity in it, not only the negativity. And so I want to start by saying that actually it's a very simple choice. We choose either to be negative or to be positive. And it is a choice that we all can make no matter what our situation is, no matter how we are experiencing lockdown. We can make that choice. And so I encourage you today to make that choice. Make the choice to live positively rather than negatively. However, before we go into discussing all of the positivity, I give huge space to the fact that there are a lot of huge challenges and hardships during this lockdown period. Okay, people can get very dispirited, they can get very frustrated, they can get very negative. But what my challenge or my request really is let's see it in a positive rather than negative light. Let's not let that get us down. So I'm giving space today for the very real difficulties that people will be facing during this time. And there are many. So I'm just going to mention a few. The first one is that worldwide we'll face an economic challenge, or it will be different. Businesses might have to close. We might have to find new ways of doing things. So worldwide the economy is bad. But closer to home, financially each family might in fact be stressed at the moment. So that is a very big stress that we have. And I just want to say that I'm not underestimating the effect that all of these situations will have on you. What I'm trying to say is, despite that, let's see if we can choose positivity. The second thing is that there's lots of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen after lockdown. We don't know when our schools will be open again. We don't know when our jobs will be open, when we'll be back to business as usual. And that uncertainty can create a lot of anxiety. So we give that space as well. The third thing that I want to mention is that there's a lot of anxiety over whether we'll get sick or whether we won't. But particularly if we are concerned about members of our family or friends who are frail, either because they are a little bit older than we are. We think of parents and grandparents who just by the nature of their age are vulnerable to the virus. And then other people who might be immunocompromised or might already be suffering from a chronic illness. So in other words, their system is already under a lot of pressure. So we worry that maybe they'll also get the virus. We absolutely give space to that. The fourth thing is the grief for those of you who have lost people to the virus, but also the grief for people who have lost loved ones of natural causes during this time, or of non-COVID related reasons. We think of those people in that they can't really take proper leave of their loved ones because we're not able to have funerals at the moment, and that will be very stressful. So we give that space as well. Some people might suffer a lot from boredom, and we give that space. There might also be increased pressures if you are suffering from the disease of addiction, alcoholic, drugs, even smoking. In our country, these are not available at all. And the worry there is that then people who are addicted will be suffering withdrawal in an enclosed space with their family. And that would be very, very difficult, I'm sure. So we give that space as well. Lots of things: frustration, boredom, maybe getting over or trying to recover from an addiction, the fact that we are not able to do our work, financial pressures can all lead to increased domestic violence. And particularly for those people who are living in very close quarters or in an apartment where they can't actually go out for a walk. The pressures of having your family together 24/7. If you think about the pressures over a Christmas period, it's kind of similar to that. Okay, so we have to make it all work. And then in some of the more poorer areas of the world, the fact that people have very limited space in order to live. So there will be many people sharing one room, so they're not able to do social distancing, which means that if one person gets sick, the likelihood of them all getting sick is pretty good. So those are a few of the stresses that I would like to mention, and there will be many more. If you have a particular stress that you are suffering from, whether you are watching this broadcast live or on a rebroadcast, please add what pressures you are finding during lockdown. It'll just maybe help other people to realize that they're not alone. So let's look at the positives. And actually many of the positives all revolve around the fact that we, through lockdown, have been given the most precious gift of time. I want to say that again. It's the most precious gift of time. And so I want to read a story about Alexander the Great and what he said about time. On his deathbed, Alexander the Great summoned his generals and told them his 3 ultimate wishes. The first one was the best doctors should carry his coffin. The second was the wealth he had accumulated, money, gold, precious stones, should be scattered along the procession to the cemetery. And the third one was that his hands should be let loose, hanging outside the coffin for all to see. One of his generals, who was surprised by these unusual requests, asked Alexander to please explain. Here's what Alexander the Great had to say. Number 1, I want the best doctors to carry my coffin to demonstrate that in the face of death, even the best doctors in the world have no power to heal. How wise. The second point, I want the road to be covered with my treasure so that everyone sees that material wealth acquired on earth stays on earth. And the third, I want my hands to swing in the wind so that people understand that we come to this world empty-handed and we leave this world empty-handed after the most precious treasure of all is exhausted. And that precious treasure is time. We do not take to our grave any material wealth, although our good deeds can be our traveler's checks. But time is our most precious treasure because it is limited. We can produce more wealth, but we cannot produce more time. So when we give someone our time, actually we give them a portion of our life that we will never take back. Our time is our life. So, my dear people, the present time that you can give to family and friends is your time, the best present you can give them. May God grant you plenty of time, and may you have the wisdom to give it away so that you can live, love, and die in peace. How amazing is that? So we have this precious gift of time. Who are we going to give this gift to? Because now our days are not being lost in an endless blur of activity. We actually are able to be, once again, to choose where our time is going to go, where our time is going to go to, because it's so precious. And that is really where we can see now the positive of lockdown. Okay, so where's our time going to go? We can give it to our family and our friends. There's a great opportunity to have really special family time, do those fun and silly things that families do that really make memories. Play with them in the garden, play Scrabble with them. So we can give our time to our family. We can also reach out to friends, particularly those who live far away, make a phone call. We've got the time to do that now. Connect with them. And then lastly, we can give our time to ourselves, okay, to ourselves, doing what we love to do without feeling guilty that we're doing it. This is a word especially to the mums out there. So if you feel like lying in the sun or on a veranda reading your book or sewing or listening to music or whatever it may be, just do it. You have the time, and much as we give to other people, we also need to give to ourselves. So how else can we make this a positive experience in lockdown? Why don't you think of all the things that you usually say, oh no, we don't have time for that. And those are the things that possibly you can do during lockdown. So let's see it as a great opportunity to do things and live a little bit differently because we have the gift of time. So what am I talking about? Things like doing the hobbies that we haven't done for many years, or that we don't have the time to do in the normal scheme of our busy lives. Maybe read more books, listen to more music, be more creative, do some writing, do some drawing, cooking, gardening. The list is endless. Okay? But also we can see it as a time to do our chores, which they are never great or exciting things to do, but they will make us feel really lovely about what we've done, whether it's a chore of weeding in the garden or cleaning your house or decluttering cupboards or whatever it may be. Use these chores as a way of just making our lives simple and making our homes even better than they are. Okay, so the next thing is to simplify our lives, to simplify the things we do and return back to those simple pleasures, okay? Simple pleasures that we've maybe been too busy to enjoy in the past. I also challenge you during this time of lockdown to grasp the gift of time and be curious, be investigative, research things, learn things. Use this time to, even if it doesn't lead anywhere, but just the fact that you are able to do that. Also, I think it's a lovely time to be contemplative, where you can think about how you're living your life, what you would like to be doing, how you can improve yourself, how you can kind of knock the rough edges off yourself. For those who are contemplative by nature, to be more mindful, to look at meditation, and now we won't have to rush those things, we can take our time doing them. I also think that if we do a little bit of something each day, that when you put them all together, there's been like an exponential effect. So if you're wanting to, let's say, weed your garden, weed for 10 minutes every day, and by the end of lockdown, hopefully you'll have a weed-free garden. So what I'm trying to say is do little things every day. You don't have to start a task and complete it. You can divide it into little bite-sized pieces that will make your day exciting and hopefully very, very efficient. I'd also like you to challenge you to spend a little bit of less time on technology, on Facebook, on social media, on TV, on series. The pace of our life has been slowed down for us. Let's really enjoy that slower pace. So I think that there are a few words that I want to just end this broadcast with that will guide us in possibly how to spend this precious gift of time during lockdown. If we look at words like connection, generosity, simplicity, creativity, and compassion. Let's be guided by those words and more that you would like to add for yourself. Connection, generosity, simplicity, creativity, and compassion. Let's live a really positive life during this lockdown and make memories that we'll be able to tell our children and grandchildren about one day. So I thank you as always for joining me. Please feel free to add some comments below. If you're wanting to make contact with me, please feel free on sherryforsyth@gmail.com. That's spelled CHERRIFORSYTH@gmail.com. And let's make this a positive time. Let's really harness this wonderful opportunity and make it meaningful. As always, thank you for listening to this, and I look forward to my next one, which will probably be in about a week on lockdown again.